let's talk about the state of Marathon right now. I got a notification from PlayStation about half an hour ago which announced the official Marathon release date. It was about when we expected. The Extraction shooter will release on March 5th, 2026. That's March 6th for us Australians who live in the future. And it got some pretty cool pre-order stuff. I think it looks pretty sick. Over at the Bungie store, you can order that collector's edition right now for $230 because that's the world of pricing we live in right now. But it's admittedly a pretty cool statue with your Steam, PlayStation 5 or Xbox version you get to choose. I'll put that collector's edition on the screen right now. And look, as you can see, the player model statue looks pretty sick. This is definitely something I would proudly own. I'd put it on my own shelf. I feel like they've gone above and beyond to make the statue a cut above the others, sort of differentiate itself from some lackluster collector's edition stuff. Having a stand in that clear water and it's visible what's inside and the grass growing out. It looks super cool. I like her white and black lines. Style, she's very stylized. She looks great. There's also bits and pieces like cosmetics and art and stuff that, come with the statue. That's, significantly less important, but, they're just buffing it out. Looks cool. The cosmetics are in game, so that is pretty sick. But if you're not looking to spend a week's rent on a statue, however cool, I believe in the US you can get a digital copy on Steam for $40. While in Australia we are paying 50 AUD or 90 AUD if we want a deluxe edition. Don't know how that is in the US, but the deluxe edition comes with, from what I understand, a weapon and a cosmetic. I'm not sure if that's really it, but that's what I can confirm at least. I'm not showing marathon footage because I am scared the copyright gods will beat me with a stick, but the gameplay is really where things get polarizing. It's really where the communication is getting a bit rough. I don't believe the gameplay is being well depicted in their trailer edits to general audiences. I think I have asked just about everyone how they perceive the marathon gameplay to be, whether they'll switch to it, and everyone says that they think it just looks like green sludge. I'm getting that general vibe on the internet as well, outside of like really hardcore Bungie spaces. The trailers barely let you get a glimpse of anything before some text or lore BS pops up. It really reminds me of Concord, where they had all this lore and all these interactable maps and cutscenes, and it's like, well, is the gameplay good? Is it? I don't know. A lot of people don't really know. I personally find the stylization and what I see of the gameplay to be quite endearing. I genuinely do. I'm going to get a copy. I'm genuinely pretty excited, but that's not the vibe I'm generally getting interpersonally, or on the internet. You really have to go digging for long-form content of the gameplay by Bungie or Sony to really get a good look and wrap your head around it. Most people just aren't doing that. The issue with the art style is that it is polarizing, and because the art style is polarizing, they really need to show like the game is really good. But they're doing what they're doing, and that's that. I think they're really going to have to work on getting the gameplay to everyday gamers, to everyday consumers, really push that boulder uphill so they can make their minds a little more. But right now, I honestly think there's a pretty big marketing failure going on by Bungie. The last thing I want to touch on is, sadly, out of all of these updates, there is still no Nintendo Switch 2 version in sight. I know there's going to be a lot of people who don't care about that, but there is not a distant disclosure that it will be on the Nintendo Switch 2 at all, or eventually. It's just a total snub for now, and I'm a really big Nintendo buff, and I think that there's a huge failure and opportunity there, because I think that this game is going to have a tough time competing with Arc Raiders on the same markets that Arc Raiders operate on. I know that a lot of people don't like comparing the two. I don't really either, but I think there's a reality there. But if it opens itself up to an entirely new player base that Arc Raiders does not have at all, and will never have from what I understand, there could be a really good snowball effect where Nintendo Switch 2 owners who want a good multiplayer game, who want a good FPS game, who want a good looter shooter, which none of those are on the Nintendo Switch 2 right now, they would snag this. It could become the Nintendo Switch's home. Marathon is a really heavily stylized game. I think Bungie really is missing out on something there. But look, overall, I don't think Marathon is in as much trouble as people would like to frame it. I think it's in a much safer spot than Concord was. But I do think there's communication issues that Bungie really need to work on for more casual gamers who have never heard of the original Marathon. They weren't Destiny fans. Maybe they'd never even played Destiny. Maybe they're not really big Bungie buffs and they don't understand why they would play this over Arc Raiders when that is the belle of the ball right now in video gaming. Anyway, I think Marathon does look like it will deliver a fun experience. I'm personally excited to get it. I think it will separate itself from Arc, but trailer edits, YouTube shorts, really capitalize on it, but whatever. It needs to prove itself more before release. And I think the missing out on the Nintendo Switch 2 is a big opportunity. I know a lot of people won't care, but that's what I think, and that's how it is. So